Hey everyone, today we're talking about an extremely complex, even bizarre story. Hubert went for a walk downstairs to avoid suspicion. On his return, Lolita was asleep, leaving Hubert restless. She quietly lay by the bed, troubled by wicked thoughts. But she managed to resist, as morning light slipped through the curtains. Hubert woke up to find Lolita staring at him, her eyes sparkling like a clear spring, making it easy to see right into her heart. Then, the mischievous sprite drew closer, her warm breath teasing his ear, upsetting Hubert as Lolita recounted her summer camp adventures. This caused her to feel a trace of bittersweetness within, as the charming young girl gently leaned herself upon Hubert, with a meaningful and intriguing smile playing upon her lips. Her delicate fingers casually explored his pocket, each move dripping with seduction. Hubert's joy was evident, lost in the moment and reluctant. Thus, as her stepfather, she possessed Lolita but felt guilty. To soothe her conscience, she began searching for excuses. He often placated himself with the excuse that Lolita wasn't a novice, allowing him to bury his guilt and continue indulging. In this twisted relationship, Lolita seemed to sense something was wrong. An undercurrent of discomfort emerged, and her words began to reject Hubert. "I desperately need a bubble machine." Upon hearing that, what exactly did you think had happened? I'm a fresh and lively girl. Look what you've done to me. I should call the cops and tell them you're bullying me, you old creep. The awkward atmosphere broke with a tease, but traces of panic and resentment flickered on her face. Once in the break room, Lolita remembered she needed to call her mom, prompting Hubert to spill the truth. Upon learning of her mother's passing, all her strength drained, tears streamed, her sobs echoing through the night. This was heartbreaking. Perhaps the sudden change made Lolita realize Hubert's importance in her future. That night she didn't resist. They shared silent tenderness, then reached an unspoken agreement. They embarked on a journey together. Lolita quickly regained her spirits through play. They drove aimlessly between cities with no plan. She just smiled at her mischievous antics. Occasionally she felt irritated, but Hubert couldn't scold her for her youthful exuberance. To Hubert, as long as Lolita smiled brightly, she was the most enchanting view of all on this journey. She didn't want to stop nor return to her home. Instead, they drifted on the road, searching for a peaceful paradise unique. Along the way, they stayed at motels across the country, crafting a variety of stories to mask their forbidden love affair. Throughout their travels, Lolita grew continuously, but her growth was marred by bitterness and helplessness. She began to realize her relationship with Hubert was flawed, a mix of pain and regret beyond her control. Lolita felt trapped, only able to grow in more conventional surroundings, but never allowed to socialize with others. Threatened with orphanage if she misbehaved, he pampered Lolita, met her demands to ensure her willing stay. This girl will eventually grow up, longing for novelty and escape. So she employed their usual tactics, curling up like a docile kitten. Curling up in Hubert's lap, she gazed up at him with pleading eyes. Her slender fingers flirted in the air, her body subtly teasing toward his thigh. Hubert couldn't resist the allure, his defenses crumbling. He agreed to give her $2 weekly and let her join the drama club. In a dimly lit theatre, Hubert sat quietly in the audience, watching the director guiding Lolita through her rehearsal in the role of a witch. The role required her to exude a love to entice the hunter in the play, and her portrayal had a unique flair that stirred complex feelings. One day, Lolita skipped piano class accidentally. She said she went to the park with classmates, but Hubert didn't believe her easily. He even sought out her classmates for confirmation. Despite their testimony matching hers, Hubert felt inexplicably anxious and stubbornly believed that thus the atmosphere between the two became highly charged, and an inevitable intense argument erupted, filled with sharp exchanges between them. Their relationship had shifted ever since the first transaction of money. From that point on, every act of intimacy involved Hubert needing to pay for Lolita's compliance. In return, she would even up the ante, completely disregarding any notion of feelings, hiding the money tightly. Hubert sensed that once Lolita saved enough money, she would leave without a second glance. This argument sped up her escape. She rode her bike recklessly into the rain, as Hubert looked at the empty street and felt a wave of guilt wash over him. Ignoring the pouring rain, he searched for Lolita's figure and finally spotted her familiar bike outside a cold drink shop. Inside, Lolita was chatting and laughing on the phone. When they met, it was as if nothing had happened moments before. Lolita proposed continuing their travels, but this time she would plan the route. To keep this little sprite close, Hubert naturally agreed to whatever. With Lolita having planned everything, the journey was anything but peaceful, as a car seemed to be tailing them closely. Despite their constant route changes, the car continued to follow them relentlessly. When they tried to get a clear view of the car, it vanished without a trace, leaving Hubert feeling a touch uneasy. He felt like the police might be onto him for taking the girl on the road. Then one day, they stopped in a small town. Hubert stepped into a shop to buy sunglasses. While browsing, he casually glanced out the window and saw Lolita animatedly chatting with a stranger. Her radiant smile was something he hadn't seen in days, and it sent his heart racing. He hastily dropped the sunglasses and rushed outside, but by the time he got there, the man had vanished without a trace. Only Lolita stood there, casually stating the man was just asking for directions.